Why did Rishi Sunak call an election? Well, he knew that the Rwanda plan was never going to work. We'd all told him that. He could have corrected it by changing to the legislation, but he didn't want to. If he'd waited until the autumn, he knew that everyone would know that you and I had more chance of going to Rwanda than any of the illegal migrants. He also had made it known to the Department of Defence, Ministry of Defence. We knew, they knew, that we're being dragged into a war with Russia, in a proxy war, where actually we're holding the Ukrainian people are being held to ransom until the UK and its allies have achieved their strategic objectives, which appear to be we're going to fight that war and supply weapons until we're going to fight very bravely to the last Ukrainian. And he didn't want it. He'd told all the generals and the admirals and the air vice marshals that he didn't want to be a wartime prime minister. And as you can see by the keenness with which Keir Starmer puts his combats on, he does want to be a wartime prime minister, and that's what it was. And they also, interesting, I think something else that played into its hands was the last written question I got back as an MP in May 2024 was, I'd put a question in, a written question, and it said, is the government carrying out any geoengineering, cloud seeding or weather manipulation affecting UK airspace? And the follow-up question on there was, or is it aware of anybody else doing it? And it came back 2 days before Rishi Sunak called the general election, and the answer was no, and they crossed out the second question, which I would have immediately put back in. And they couldn't answer that question, could they? And then we had the general election was called. We are in amazing times. People are waking up to what's going on, whether it's like myself, it was the COVID overreach that slapped me wide awake. And it's a little bit like looking behind the curtain. You look behind the curtain, you do your own research, and you see things you don't like. And the trouble is with looking behind the curtain, you have to go and have another look. And there's a lot more things behind the curtain that we don't like. I've come up here this morning just to say a few words and to meet you. I'm speaking in another race course at Taunton this afternoon. So I hope I can see some of you there. The answer is that as you wake up, it is quite an awakening, and it's a shock to me to get into your 50s to find out that most of the things we've been told all our lives is actually not true. And we find out that we have been basically indentured slaves to a system from the moment our parents registered our birth certificates. Well, the time for the great resist is now. It's coming closer. We've got to pray and hope that the administration in the United States does the right thing, and that a tsunami of truth and justice heads across the Atlantic to the UK and the rest of Europe, something which will sweep away the self-serving, pathetic politicians we have in this country, and be under no illusion. Be under no illusion that all of those elected politicians are playing their part in the pantomime that we call a democracy in this country. Knowingly or unknowingly, they're playing the part. The time for the great resist is coming, and I will be with you, and I want you to be with me, and we are going to win. Thank you very much for listening to me.